つより気になるですね。
Welcome everybody back to Tranquility Gaming. Sorry for the tech issues there. As a quick little update for you while we've been gone. Celsius 522 have really come back in this Nepal map. 80% on round 3 here as they did manage to win out Village, and they are actually one fight away from winning right now.
Yeah, clearly that Mei strategy is actually paying off for them there, and like I said, as we were cut off stream, I was talking about the Mei walls and how important they were for Celsius to actually play around, and looks like it's taken them over the line here, pushing them into 99% now into this next fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about winning this one here for the Hope Guardians to try and turn their fortunes around. Bongo is popped here by Celsius 522, though, puts a lot of flak onto these Hope Guardians players, and they all just die extremely quickly there. Just an explosion of deaths going through. Bezo does manage to find two, you know, a bomb and a remake kill as Hope Guardians. I mean, they've got some fast players. Their spawns should be better. They can probably get back into this and win the team fight, as Shinbo is actually holding down things very nicely at that frontal choke on the Reaper. Seems as if Hope Guardians have really managed to turn this around despite the fact 4 of their players died early.
Yeah, it looked a bit hairy for a second there as you saw Widow Lover sort of take out one, but you know, like you said, with the speed that they're coming back into this one, you'd kind of potentially saw them come back in and win that one straight off the bat. But oh, nice seat for the pulse bomb.
Yeah, I mean, it gets Ian up there, so not the greatest, as Norak as well gets Ajaxed mid. The Widow Lover falls as well to their own Helix rocket. Shinbo doesn't really find too much with the Death Blossom there, as it is still very much up in the air as to who's going to win this. Bezo almost goes off the map, but manages to get back on in time, and now we're in last fight territory, but Hope Guardians, they're the ones in control.
Yeah, completely flipped on its head this these last couple of fights, and you gotta wonder if these obscure tanks they had to go to for Hope Guardians has kind of somehow fallen into their favour. And Narrow with the comp in the backline as well, picking up one.
Yeah, good starting kill coming through there from the Hope Guardians. You would love to have this beat online. You know, you got Ajax last fight, so you're not going to have it here. As Celsius 522, they're coming up on some of their crucial ultimates, but if they can stay alive, I mean, that would be what they need, but they aren't staying alive. Dark Season gets into the back, manages to find a few kills, also just takes the brunt of that bomb for some reason. Not entirely sure what that's about, but either way, Hope Guardians, they should be chilling. You've got Kit back here on the Doomfist. They do manage to you know, do a little bit of damage, but yeah, I mean, they get moved off the edge. It's probably over here. Hope Guardians winning out on the poll. Not too bad, honestly. I mean, okay. I don't want to jinx anything just yet. Lucas has come back for Trance.
I'm going to feed a poop onto Blondie as well. That's not looking good for them either.
Hold on. Thor Yamea? Oh, they see 9 no. What is that? There is no way. Oh my word. So Thor Yamea comes back, finds 2 kills with 2 boops off the edge, gets play of the game as well, and then they just see 9. That is tragic for Celsius.
Yeah, that boop, oh my god, so clutch to take out Blondie with that Transcendence just popped as well, and then a secondary boop onto the Wrecking Ball as well. That's just absolutely fantastic stuff from them to see that over the line. To be well, not even he didn't even do that actually, to be fair, because it actually it wasn't enough. But it was a great boop nonetheless, and something that we can all admire. So just unfortunately couldn't get back onto the point there, but. Yeah, what a close first map. We knew it was going to be close, but I didn't think it would be quite that close. 99-99 on the last, the third map there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it started off Hope Guardians taking a pretty dominant win on Shrine, I thought, and then Celsius 522, they come back. We get the tech difficulties on sort of round 2 there, right, on Village, but, you know, Celsius 522, they come back, they win that round, they almost win on Sanctum. And then things get completely flipped on its head. I mean, Hope Guardians, they went from like 20% all the way up to that 100 with a real comeback on Sanctum. And, you know, it was looking like Celsius could have clutched that. There were so many weird moments during that sort of, as well, just like messed up both sides. Hope Guardians getting their beat to Ajax, Celsius C9ing at the end. There was an eat on a pulse bomb in there as well. I mean, this has been just the most weird first map I've ever casted.
I mean, I guess even weirder when you think about the length of the actual fights that they're taking. You know, a lot of these both these teams actually sort of, like I said, we're taking these long, drawn-out fights, which don't always favour them, especially when they don't have the point, you know, under their control. They're taking these long fights that, you know, with 5 players for majority of it, because they're slowly sort of losing one here and losing one there, and slowly, before you know it, you're up to 80% and potentially last fight territory for the side that was in that driving position, really. So, you know, I think both teams just need to take a little bit of a chill pill and maybe reset themselves a little bit and realize that, you know, they don't always have to keep going in. You know, you can come back, you can reset and go back in as a full 6. A bit of discipline I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that discipline is sort of the main thing. You're not expecting it out of, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 SR players, I will admit. It's not the most elite tier of gameplay, but
average.
It makes for fun matches, right? Yeah, it is about average. You're watching your average Overwatch players here, getting Ajax, C9ing. You know, it's what you love to see. But yeah, we're going to be heading into our next map in just a moment here. Obviously, we will have Volskaya Industries, one of my least favorite maps in the entire game, despite the fact that it's been figured out at this point. Everyone used to say that Volskaya is like really hard to attack on. I don't feel like it necessarily is, but I still don't like the map as it is. So
I just don't like 2CP at all, if I'm completely honest. I'm ready to see the back of it. But if I'm completely honest, it's one of those maps that feels like it's stomp or be stomped kind of thing. Very much similar feel to Temple of Anubis, unfortunately, for me. But yeah, it should be an interesting one with these teams that are taking, you know, these long fights. Maybe we might see that again, and maybe we'll just see some absolute craziness, especially with, you know, the spawn points so close, which we know has been such a big issue for 2CP, and the entire community is just doesn't like it, mainly for that reason. And I don't think any kind of tweaking would be able to fix that. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's kind of funny as well, because like the main gripes people had with 2CP were like using, I think, the snowballing and the close spawns, right? But both of those exist on push. Like, the snowballing still exists. If you win the first fight on push, you're probably getting it at least 60 meters. And as well, you get close spawns as you get towards the defender spawn on the end of the map. So it hasn't solved the issues 2CP initially had. But yeah, enough complaining about 2CP here. We got some Pharah.
I love a bit of Pharah, and it doesn't look... well, actually, I was going to say it doesn't look like they're too well equipped, but they do actually have a... McCree, sorry, a Cassidy, I should be saying, and a Baptiste as well. So plenty of ability to be able to put some pressure on this Pharah here, which is going to be necessary as Kip's going to be pushing plenty of damage over the top.
Yeah, I mean, Dark's obviously last map on the ball really tended towards this Cassidy pick, and I mean, if it's a combo pick, sure, and it does also counter the Pharah here, so I'm not really complaining about it. They just need to pop off on it for it to really be convincing here, as Naro already loses their shield. That allows Kip to get into the skies, start putting in these shots down their barrel, and already 75% towards that barrage. Off angle comes through, finds Dark, that's their nemesis gone, and they should be able to let loose this barrage very, very early on. Finds Naro, and Celsius are pretty much poised to win this fight. They need to make some space for Thoriumea to get in and potentially res this Pharah up. There we go. It goes for a bit of a risky one, but they do manage to get the Pharah back in the fight. Nano wants the monkey here, and that should bag them the fight.
Yeah, it's a really good, an interesting team composition they've got with the window invested there, very strangely. But they have the dive tanks, which are really putting pressure onto the team, and especially the the Cassidy, who has to kind of pick and choose whether or not they want to go for the frontliners or focus on the Pharah, who eventually managed to get the better of him. So it's difficult, really, when you're looking from a Hope Guardians point of view, and positioning is going to play a massive factor, especially coming into this next fight. They need to be able to kind of keep their Cassidy safe and out of the sight lines of the tanks, who are going to be on top of him, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, last fight as well, like, Dark died to bad positioning. Naro got their shield broken early to bad positioning. They didn't play around natural cover very much against this Pharah, and Kip already almost has his barrage online already. You're going to have 5 ultimates coming in here for Celsius, and this beat from Norak needs to be perfectly timed as the barrage comes in here. Kip into the back, finds Naro early on. If there's any time for the beat, I'd say it would be now as that pulse bomb comes in. Manages to clear some of these players off towards the back of the point as Sweets goes in, cleans up that kill onto Dog. There's a beat, perfectly timed from Norak as they manage to keep Blondie alive, but Shinbo, yeah, a bit out of line of sight of that, so they're not going to get the healing from it as Sweets finds another one onto Blondie. Excellent stuff from this monkey as they have just opened things up entirely for Celsius to win this team fight, and that nano boost as well towards the end puts in so much damage. Sweets was really the MVP of that fight.
I'm not really too sure why they held on to the beat there for so long. They really needed it much earlier on, like you said. And with that, they're just kind of staggering in at this point. And obviously, the one good thing that they did bring into the game was the fact that if you have more players on the point, the longer the respawns on the defending team is. So we should see that come into the batter over the next sort of couple of minutes, I think, as this could see no sign of stopping.
Yeah, Kip builds up another barrage. That is 3 at this point right now, and I mean, to be fair, the Hope Guardians, they're still going back into it despite that. They found Rocco, they found Lucas as well. Dark seeming to be the one to want to clutch things up for them, just like on Nepal. They have a pulse bomb, they invest it. It hits the bubble though, so not quite going to clear the Mercy, but here's Shinbo, Death Blossom in, moved around by Sweets away from their teammates. Excellent awareness to get them away from that point of danger, but I think Shinbo still manages to clean up onto the monkey, and that is the cleanup from Hope Guardians. They stall long enough to bring that back.
Yeah, really crucial picks there from Dark to be able to get that pick onto Lucas early on. I say early on, it was very, very late on. The fight went on for a crazy amount of time again, but just kind of focusing in onto those high impact heroes that are going to be your supports, really. Your support line is so crucial, and if you lose one of them, then it's a good way to get back into the fight despite having the ultimate deficit or having a respawn disadvantage. So yeah, a couple of ults coming to this next fight. Should be interesting to see how they use them.
Yeah, another barrage from Kip as well, I think is a crucial one here as they find that early pick onto Dark. Bomb goes in there onto Blondie as they are forced to use the immortality, and the beat is perfectly timed this time around as most of the barrage is actually eaten up by Bezo. Just like Nepal, managing to eat up a lot of that damage and keep their team in things as Narrow finds a kill. Blondie does end up going down, but this flank here from Shinbo is perfectly timed to try and take down Sweet as they pop that Primal Rage, save themselves in the nick of time. A great eat onto Dark's Pulse Bomb, and I think now Celsius, if they can finish these last two players off, they should be able to get at least another tick and probably most of the cap here.
Yeah, both these divas must have a favourite board game of Hungry Hunger Hippos, because there's been plenty of damage consumed by each one, as we see Shinbo with a Death Blossom trying to force this one over the line, but it's not stopping. It's going so back and forth. I just don't know how it's going to end.
I mean, it looks again like it'll end in the favor of Hope Guardians here, as they managed to find 3 kills towards the end there in the cleanup. I mean, how do they keep on doing this?
Honestly, maybe it's just target focus. Maybe it's like a bit of that, and maybe a bit of that kind of mechanical skill potentially lacking a little bit. It's still first game of the season. They're still kind of warming up and probably, getting rid of those sort of pre-game nerves as well. So maybe it's a little bit of that.
Yep, maybe, but I keep talking about this barrage here from Kip. They have another one online. It's been quite a few minutes, to be fair, and they've built up a lot of them. Most of them have been sort of 1 or 2 kills and not really these incredible pop-up plays you really want to open things up. Now they're going to get the barrage onto them, so they should be able to just lay down the damage. But Dark again comes in with 2 kills, diffs the enemy Tracer, finds Sweets. Can Dark continue to clutch up here for Hope Guardians? They are on low HP, they get a health back and keep themselves alive. But Celsius, with those 2 players gone, they decide that they're going to play a bit more passively. They can't really put too much presence onto the point right now. They are going to get a couple of their players back in and see if they can re-engage with a bit of punch. Widow does miss that pulse bomb there though. Blondie will end up falling, but again Dark is in the back line, harassing a little bit, putting in the damage. Shinbo goes down, bomb is in there from Bezo, doesn't find a kill with it. Another barrage here from Kip, doesn't actually get any kills, and Window Lover goes down. That 1 kill could throw a wrench in the works here for Celsius.
It's just absolute chaos. It looks like eventually they are going to get this one over the line, but I mean, you got to give it to Bezo, who's had an absolutely cracking game on that diva so far, consuming so much of that damage, getting rid of the McCree after that first point. You would have thought it would put a lot of pressure onto Bezo, but they've really stepped up to the plate here. As they're still going, they're still fighting, and Bezo's still on the point.
Yeah, somehow, Hope Guardians still contesting this as Celsius, their health balls are starting to diminish as Sweets goes down there. You get this nano boost onto the diva in desperation from Lucas, but Rocco is just putting in a lot of damage there, cleaned up, of course, by Kip as they find 2 of those kills towards the end. And listen, Dark continues to stall there, buys time for Naru now to get back on the Wrecking Ball. They use his adaptive shield to stall that out a little bit longer. Blondie will be, I think, the last to fall here, though, as Hope Guardians can't stall any longer. They can't defy fate no more. And Celsius, they go from, what was that, a 6-minute time bank, 5-minute time bank, down to 0.
It's just absolutely mental. And considering, like, I want someone, if someone in chat could tell me exactly how many fights that was in total, like, considering that, majority of those were non-stop, potentially over the course of a minute or like 2 minutes, I think is probably going to be like 3 or 4 of those fights that we just got to stall there. It's just craziness, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, I mean, it seems to be the battle of the divas at the moment, who can take away more of the damage. Both Rocca and Bezo having a very, very good showing so far on these divas, but I have to give it to Bezo after saying like about that McCree sort of being lost and the Farah putting so much pressure in. Kip was still able to get plenty of barrages up and online, but Bezo did a great job of negating majority of the damage coming out from them. So if they can continue to do that on attack, and it looks like Dark's not quite picked a DPS character yet, so maybe we might see a hit scan, considering that they might be able to hear Kip on that Pharah again. We'll see, I guess, or they're just going to leave it up to. Bezo. Oh no, he's not on the D.Va this time, so we'll see how it goes, I guess.
What is this? Okay. Oh no, that looks a bit more sensible now. I was gonna say, playing Cass, Reaper, and a Moira would have been the most like crazy competition I've seen in trying so far as Engage. Welcome in here from Naro, just trying to clear off some space up on this sort of top box area. They do also catch out Sweets in the process, right? Dog can get in here with a Boating Beam and finish that off. In fact, not even needed as Shinbo takes them down just with the left clicks, and with the Monkey gone here for Celsius, it becomes ever so difficult to bring this back. However, Kip always exists, putting in the damage. Will get Boating Beam down here by Dog, but the tracking isn't quite there. Can't finish that kill off as Sweets does get back into the fight now, and Celsius, I mean, they're falling 1 by 1. I think Hope Guardians win this one out. Could have gone both ways there, to be fair, but it was just a clean engage off the start of the segment off Sweets.
Yeah, big fan of the double bubble, personally. It's always a big bonus for me when I see that, because I do enjoy watching it, especially when teams can play it really, really well. And if they can couple up these sort of bubbles and rotate their utility properly, then I might think we might see much the same as we do actually see Kip change off of that Pharah for the first time this map, over and favouring the Echo instead against the direct matchup against Dark, who is closing in on that replicate, however.
Yeah, this duplication from Dark, I think if you go for like a double monkey dive, double bubble becomes so much stronger. It becomes a triple bubble at that point, right? I mean, there's no way to stop that engage from getting all the punch. It's Bezo pretty high on charge right now. Going to get this nano boost onto them as well, so they're going to start beaming players down on this point, forcing them away at this main choke. They get a tick off the back of that space created. Kip ends up falling first to Naro of all people. As they pop this Primal Rage into the back, they will get slapped up on this point. There's a duplication from Dark. Did come through onto the D.Va, so they're going to throw a bomb in the middle of the point. It should clear a couple of these Celsius players off, and Hope Guardians, the attack for them has been much cleaner than Celsius's was, I have to say. They're going to have this grab coming online as well, but you don't even need it at this point. Norak, being a bloodthirsty support, finding a couple kills. Kip and Rocco come back, though. They find 3 kills between them. Okay, Rocco popping the bomb on the point, forces Naro to play so defensively, and they're going to fall because of it. Hope Guardians are staved off for the moment.
They look like they had that one there, but a fantastic change from Kip, and getting a couple of kills, plus the extra one as well. It was just enough to kind of get them back into that one. That's the fantastic thing about playing Doomfist in these real die-hard situations. You just want to get as many picks as you can, and what better hero than the Doomfist, and make the most of it whilst you can, because he's changing to a tank soon. They do have the ultimate advantage coming for Hope Guardians here, and with a grab as well, they got to be looking towards Rocco to make sure that this one goes their way.
Yeah, would look like a go. Okay, I was going to say a grab nano boost combo, but Norak's gone. Blondie obviously could res that up as the grab is invested anyway. Bezo thinking it's, yeah, I mean, it is winnable. Not just thinking it's winnable, it is winnable off the back of that grab. Manages to funnel 3 of them into that, and they all get cleaned up there. Shinbo will fall here. That res onto Bezo as well. Doesn't quite cost Blondie their life, but they did go a little bit risky for that, as a Primal Rage is going in here from Naro, trying to keep his players off the point, but Bezo ends up falling. Sweets back on the Wrecking Ball, finding Blondie as well. Sweets massively clutching up for Celsius at the minute. Those are 2 very crucial kills, as the whip shot as well finds Naro. I mean, okay, that works out for Celsius, and they've regained control just barely.
Yeah, I think that early pick onto Norak was the real game changer there. Despite the fact that they managed to turn the fight around with a great grab from Bezo, they did look like they were going to take it, but with the respawn advantage that they had and the amount of sustain that they had coming into it, it was just a matter of time if they weren't able to focus down their targets that were coming in to contest the point. So yeah, it just completely went the way of Celsius in this case.
Well, Death Blossom is online here for the Reaper guy if they want to use that as Shinbo. Starting not to. They know their backline's getting dove, so probably not going to be the most winnable fight of all. Obviously, they were clutching up a fair few team fights last round, but yeah, not going to be fated this time around as Rocco does invest the bomb towards the end of that. Not the cleanest investment of ultimates, I would say.
It's not been too bad in terms of the ultimate usage throughout these fights. Sometimes a little bit off with timing, sometimes invested a little bit too late or too early, but overall they're rarely overusing in these fights, and we quite often see quite a lot of check marks across the board. As you know, looking towards Hope Guardians now, you can see that they've got 3 and potentially 4 coming into this fight, knowing that Monkey can build up his ultimate very quickly with the Nano Boost as well.
Yep. Narrow though is taking their time. They're just contesting the point. As Celsius need to get on it at some point. He gives up so much space there. As now the Death Blossom is in. Shinbo putting in the work. Thoriumea's rally not able to protect their team against that Kip. On this duplicated Winston is stalling it out a little bit longer, but there's still no kills coming through here. And I mean, listen, Overwatch, it might be a game of objectives. You know, you can argue the kills on everything, but in this situation, you do kind of need to get a kill to clutch this up. Widowlover finds one, but it's a little bit too late on here. Sweet is doing their best to stall this out. You get Rock and Nico back as well. Might be able to buy a little bit of time. Kip is back on the Doomfist. We saw what they can do on this hero last round as they do manage to find a bit of a slam in there, but no real kills off the back of it. Celsius, though, they get his Nano Boost back online. Yeah, and Widowlover gets a Nano Boost onto the Tracer. They need to get his Pulse Bomb in there before they die. They throw it in. That's going to catch too! Widowlover, that is sublime. Will it be enough to clutch a team fight? That is the question. Looks like Kip and Sweets want to make it so. Has now a 2v2 on the point. Sweets managing to clean up on all the rest of these kills. And what a clutch from Widowlover.
These fights are so crazy. I don't know what's going to happen each second, because it completely looked over for Celsius there. But I mean, absolute hero plays coming out from Widowlover and Kip. As we see them going into desperation mode now. Nano Boost onto the Monkey into this next fight.
Yeah. I think you need to invest this grab here for the Hope Guardians, though, because Norak has gone down after using the Nano Boost, to be fair, but you need this grab at some point to try and get some kills. Dark and Narrow, they find the backline of Celsius, and they actually res up Shinbo, so Hope Guardians, they have a player advantage now, and Shinbo gets that kill onto Widowlover. This is exactly what you need if you are the Hope Guardians. Thoriumea not able to build up this beat in time before they fall early in that fight, and I think Celsius, I mean, they have this stall potential, right? We saw this. We've seen this so many times on Volskaya so far. Shinbo comes in, finds Lucas with the Death Blossom, but they need to clean up all these other players of Celsius before it's too late. Thorium comes back in, beat online. 4 players hit by that, but Dark with the duplicated bomb finds Rocco, finds Thoriumea, and finally, that point will take up to 100%. It took so long for both teams on their attack to make that happen. 1 minute per side as they hit overtime on both attacks.
What the heck is happening in these games? It is just all-out brawl at the moment as the Grav came in onto both tanks during that fight. Bezo managed to get both of them, and at first it just looked like it was a wasted grab due to the fact they didn't have the damage because both DPS being dead on the respawn, but they did manage to use that grab to their advantage, and Blondie managed to get a fantastic res onto I think it was Shinbo, and just came back in and was able to pump the damage out with the rest of the team. So yeah, like you said, it just completely changes the sort of the fight well in their favor when you got this resurrection ability, which is so strong if you can get it off. So yeah, we haven't really talked much about supports, and they have sort of picked a variety pack of different supports as we've seen so far, and you know, this next round is going to be no different as we do see the first time a Moira coming out. But yeah, the Mercy seems to play in a big role at the moment with these resurrections. We did see one onto the supports earlier on, and then one onto Shinbo just there as well. So yeah, I think it's a big game changer at the moment, and Kip changing back over to this Pharah now. It's going to be even more interesting.
Yeah. Hope Guardians here playing a bit of an odd variation again of this 6-man, right? You usually have that Sombra in play instead of the Cassidy here for Dark, but it has been a comfort pick of theirs, and an early kill onto Widowlover. Celsius have to disengage. I mean, if anyone gets caught out here on a second kill, it's a little bit tragic for them. So Celsius, please be disciplined and just disengage here until Widow gets back. There'll be a couple of seconds at least.
Yeah, they're still contesting for this high ground, and at the moment it's just only the tanks sort of going in for it, but maybe not quite so bad as they are just jostling for this high ground position at the moment. So
First pick is what I need though.
getting a couple of them very low though. Both tanks so low.
Yeah, they back off. Celsius going to go in for sort of a last-ditch engage now as Sweets goes around the side. Will end up touching the point with that bubble. And Kip building up towards a barrage. We were saying how important having this barrage online is, and you've got a nano boost to supplement it if you really need to. Sweets going to get that on them now as they start to dive in, dealing all that cleave damage. But Lucas and Rocco fall anyway. Dog finding 3 with the high noon, just lines them up like fish in a barrel. And there we go, Celsius don't even get a tick on board as that's a team kill to finish off that round for Hope Guardians.
Yeah, that D-Mech was just go time for Dark on that Cassidy for that high noon. You know, it's perfect time to pop it, especially when you got a Fire Mercy in the air. It's just nothing better than seeing them just flop around in the air as they just know that their fate is sealed without that D.Va there to protect them with the defense matrix. But overall, I kind of brought back to the kind of the discussion of not only sort of like the discipline of understanding when you need to sort of come back and regroup, but also maybe a little bit of discipline of knowing when you can go in, when you can be the aggressor. And Hope Guardians, though it did work out for them there, could have quite easily gone the opposite way with an Nano boost coming out onto Sweets and him having a Primal Rage coming up as well. Maybe just a little bit more aggression there could have seen them over the line a little bit easier, maybe in a 6v5 situation. So yeah, just not quite sure exactly where they're going at the moment, whether they should engage, or they're a bit too scared with the points when maybe they should go in and when they shouldn't, and they should be going back and, you know, reconvening as a team. They're just not doing so. So, but yeah, into this next one now, and it's pretty much down to Hope Guardians to push this one over to a 2-0. Otherwise, it's going to be a draw.
Well, it's going to be a TP in here, I would imagine, from Shinbo. Where to is the big question. It's like on that middle platform, but that's actually very susceptible and narrow. Taking the high ground duel against the D.Va there as everyone else congregating on the point, and they get an excellent freeze onto Sweets there. That really kicks things off for them here as Blondie is traded out. Bezo goes demeched, and Kip is actually doing a lot of work right now in dealing that damage, cleaning it up. And actually, off the back of all the damage Celsius take during that fight, they get a stagger kill, but also they get this nano boost from Lucas.
Yeah, it was a great kill early on onto Sweets on that defense, but they did manage to get, I think it was Thoria, no, it wasn't, it was Blondie, sorry, on that Baptiste, and that just meant that they didn't have the sustain to get through that fight. But this next fight is going to be the last one. There it goes.
Boost onto Sweets, okay. Gotta clean up these kills though, unlike last time, as Shinbo is the first to fall there. You've got this D.Va taking a lot of the flag from just trying to contest this point, and it does look as if Hope Guardians there, you know, the flare is fading, if you want to put it that way, as Norak ends up going down 80% towards that beat as well. Would have been so good if they could stay alive there, but Rocco finds that bomb D-Mech onto Bezo, gets the remake kill onto Dark, and it looks like this right here should be the end of things. Just got to clean up on that soldier, and there we go, a draw for our second map. And listen, Puppet, I told you this would be, you know, 4 maps. Maybe we're in for that 6-map series I joked about. I jested, okay? But it's possible now.
Oh my god, Drew Skyrim is real. But we do see Dark with the play of the game. Not really surprised there with this great kill. It's triple high noon that he got. High noon perfectly timed with that D-Mech as well. So yeah, great stuff from him to get those kills towards the end of that fight and push them over the line, really. So. But both teams, again, it's quite like frustrating to watch because they get so close to being able to you know, capture these points or even get a tick sometimes, you know, and they just somehow crumble. You know, there's a pick that comes off from a DPS player, or as a res that kind of puts them back into a bit of in a more even or even up situation. You know, it's very back and forth at the moment. You're never quite sure how these are going to go.
Yeah, it's really been an intriguing series so far, because obviously we had the folks over predicting Tranquility, thinking this would be like a really close 3-2, and it's very much on track for that, just in a different way, with the whole map 6 potentially situation coming through. So we'll see just how long this series can go after this short break. Stay tuned though, you don't want to miss that map 3.
says goodbye.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Tranquility Gaming EU Harmony tier for Season 9. And yep, we have had a pretty interesting series so far here. At the half, Hope Guardians 1-0 up at over Celsius, and I bet you're thinking right now, like, oh, they're 1-0 up, but it's half time, right? You played 2 maps, surely. Yeah, we played 2 CP.
Skyer came into play and did its thing, really. So yeah, we're going into map 3 with a potential series point for them. So it should be interesting to see how they're going to get on. It's going to be King's Row, so again drawable, and that potentially would push us towards a map 5, which would suit obviously. If you're Celsius here, and you have the option to draw it, do you draw it intentionally with the hope of being able to then, or no? Because you can still win if they then win the next 2 maps, right? So it's such a weird situation to be in, where you're 2
like,
maps done.
If Hope win here, they win the series, but you still have to play map 4, right?
Yeah.
If C5 win here, they manage to even it up and it's decided on Escort. And if there's a draw here, it's still 1-0 to Hope Guardians. Celsius would need 2 map wins in a row. So the best outcome here is just Celsius winning, right? I do like the idea there, though, of like thinking, oh, what if they sandbag to make it a draw? And like, I mean, it'd be good for content, but it wouldn't be good for them. Yeah,
No,
it would not be good for them. unless they feel like they're more confident on control, in which case sandbag. But like, please don't sandbag, okay? I'm not condoning sandbagging personally. I don't know about you, but
I mean, they have to play the 4 maps anyway. It's not like a big deal, is it? So it's fine. But I've seen games going to 5 maps, and then 99 to 99. It's a very enjoyable thing to watch and to cast. But yeah, I definitely agree. I'd like to get to sleep at some point tonight, so yeah, please no sandbagging. But we are going to be into King's Row this next map. My personal favourite. I think probably it's easy. It's pretty confident saying. Put my teeth back in real quick. Saying that it's probably the community's favourite map as well.
I mean, after what has this been, like 7 years of it? You'd be surprised, honestly. You'd very much be surprised at like a lot of people say nowadays, like, oh, they're bored of King's Row, and like people actually like maps like Havana and Junkertown, and I'm like, how do you like those maps? It's really insane. Okay, our producer just said okay. Anyway. Anyway, our producer likes Double Shield and Havana and Junkertown apparently, while we're here talking about King's Row, which objectively is the best assigned map in the game. So.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Toasty. It's NA opinions, let's just say it that way.
Yeah, NA opinions, NA opinions.
Completely different to EU. We're obviously going to stick with our home ground of King's Row. Excuse the atrocious person who's just drove past my house at 1 billion miles per hour. But anyway, we are going to see some Ryan Diba actually coming out in terms of the tanks. Much of the same everywhere else. Well, actually, it's a mirror matchup entirely, so interesting as we come into this one with they're going to butt heads.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, we were talking in the break about how these teams love to just run into each other blindly, and that's exactly what happens there. Both Mays get walls onto the opposing Ryans, and they're locked into that little cubby with each other. As again, the same thing happens here. This time Naro decides to pin in. They have no immortality online. Blondie has about 5 seconds left on that cooldown, so it'll be a rotate around here from Celsius, taking control of the point while they have the advantage of cooldowns. Both Reinhardt's going to be off the board right now. No surprise there because they are playing incredibly aggressive. Finally, immortalities are going to be back online and being utilized, but it does look as if Celsius have the advantage here as Blizzard does get stunned up there. A bit unlucky, but it's still a win here for Celsius either way. Beat in from Norak, maybe a little bit aspirational there.
I completely lost track of who was attacking and who was defending there, as neither teams just after that first initial sort of complete shadow of each other's movements there with the walls and the immortality fields and everything else sort of came out from both teams. It just completely just devolved into chaos as on the point we just saw the teams just throwing haymakers left and right and centre, and but we are seeing them Celsius come out on top. And we do see them now with a considerable ult advantage into this next fight. See if Hope Guardians can get up in their faces early on.
Oh, Shadow Bomb combo doesn't really go too well as you get this pin onto Naro, but a little bit too late for that bomb to find effectiveness. Blizzard is in here from Shinbo, so they're going to find 3 kills off the back of that one if they can finish off the Mei. But Thoria Maya comes back in with the beat here. Norak wishes they'd have one to counter right now, but I mean, both beats in both of these past 2 team fights have been wasted, I would say. Thoria Maya tries to go for the 4v6 there with it, doesn't really find it, and it's not, you know, it's not Norak's first beat as well. They've, you know, kind of wasted the series, so both Lucios kind of inspirational with the beats here.
Yeah, really good ult usage there from Hope Guardians. Celsius investing a lot more into that fight, but I do have 3 ultimates still available, including that Blizzard, which is a massive game changer as long as you don't get it eaten and gobbled up by Bezo, who has been pretty on point with these eats so far. So this next fight though, early bomb.
Good wall there from Kip. Does stop them from putting a bit of pressure onto Naro in this team fight. That's why he managed to get that shadow through with 3 knocked down. Dark comes in with a high noon as well to clean it. Oh, probably not necessary, but who cares, right? It's flashy, why not?
They do actually, they invested a couple of ultimates extra that they had. They still held on to the Blizzards. There's still hope for them to be able to push this cart in these next couple of fights as long as they get a well timed and well positioned Mei ultimate off. However, they are pretty much relying on that. If that doesn't go well, then there might be a couple more fights before they can get back into this one and push this cart through this choke point.
I mean, you just need to put pressure on Naro here. That seems to be the big issue, but the eat comes through from Bezo, so going to be no pressure on Naro in this team fight. Thoria Mei goes a little bit too close to the sun there, taken down by the swinging hammer of the angry German man. Naro on 85% as well to the shatter, but Sweet puts theirs down first, finds through with it. Great timed wall though from Shinbo, denies all of the value that could have possibly had. The Mei ult in response as well from Shinbo?
Yeah, not sure about that one.
Yeah, bit odd.
A little bit of an over-investment. They do have a few ultimates to sort of back it up, but yeah, I mean, great eat there from Bezo, and we know that he's capable of doing it, and so far just really been popping off on that D.Va overall. So, but they do have relatively even ultimates across the side, across each sides here. Oh, nice wall to block off a behind noon though.
Yep. Widow Lover gonna get that, get some shots through that window as well, but actually doesn't take down the enemy Orion as they hit that shatter again. These shadows from the rounds have been nasty, but the follow-up, I mean, this time around it'll be there. The Naro obviously going down to that Blizzard that comes through from Kit, but again, there's no follow-up. Celsius don't really have the player advantage to make use of it, as Kit is walking forward while the rest of the team is walking backward. Pretty interesting. They'd come back to try and help Kip out as they're on the HP, but Celsius, it's a bit crazy for them right now. They're going to throw that bomb in, and actually, it'll force the immortality from Blondie. He'll get one in response here from Bezo, but they end up going down right as they're in Baby Fever form, and I think right now Celsius should be able to follow up on this.
Yeah, the Blizzard is in, though. I think that maybe it's not going to be as easy for them to do so as Hope Guardian still holding on with a bit of a hope and a prayer at the moment, and with the window vetted as well, that's going to be even more damage coming through. Blondie taking out Sweets.
Yeah, it's really tricky for both squads. Sweets, goes down. Celsius don't really have that presence. They would love to be able to hold down that point and force Narrow backwards. They just swing on forwards, looking for some extra kills, but can't quite find them. But yeah, Celsius, that felt like that should have been in their hands.
Seconds remaining.
It's a very strange one with Hope Guardian sort of had an advantage early on into the fight where they couldn't quite finish off about 2 or 3 of the players who just stood around this choke point for far too long. But Blizzard is out.
B is good though. Norak finds all 5 players that get hit by the Blizzard, so Shatter in from Sweet to try and follow up on some of that prior damage as Blondie, very low HP. Sweet is getting a little bit tunnel visioned on that kill, honestly, but won't be punished for it. Is that it's a bit of a misplaced charge from Narrow. They're still going aggressive though, and actually they found 3 kills. I'm not entirely sure how they're getting this much aggression into a team of 6 players, but either way, that'll bring them to 15 seconds here.
Yeah, just I think it's very crucial there that despite the fact that Sweets didn't get punished, he kind of left his team to fend for themselves, and they kind of struggled as a result of it, losing the DMAC early on. Into the next fight now.
Yeah. Narrow needs to hit a big shatter here to try and hold things down. Manages to catch a couple with it in the bookshop. And Rock is gone, so is a Widow. No ultimates to be had here for Celsius. They will invest a Blizzard towards the end, and it should encompass a couple of these players that are towards the point. Narrow could go down here as Blondie also falls, so 2 very crucial players are out of the team fight for Hope Guardians here. They will use this Blizzard in response, though that Ice Block is perfectly timed from Kip. That'll buy some time for Rocco Nico to get back, and they will be able to have this bomb in time to stall this out. Thoria Maya as well has that beat, but they're not going to need to invest it as they find their last couple of kills. And I do have to say, honestly, that Blizzard from Kip was really good.
Yeah, and then to be able to continue contesting the point through that Blizzard as well and not going down to it was just absolutely crucial. Again, just a very chaotic fight. It just seems to be the case throughout the moment. I'm not envying you having to play by big asses once. They just seem to go on for so long at the moment. But bomb nested in. Let's see if they can get anything out of it.
Oh, they can. That pin is so good from Sweets. Just finds Narrow right as they're trying to block the bomb. You either take the pin from the Rhine or you let your team die behind you. So, yeah, a bit of a rock and a hard play situation for Narrow there as Celsius managed to get the point in. But, still a minute time bank. It's not the greatest for them.
No, but they are still gaining a bit of traction now. Now, as you know, King's Row is one of those things where once you start to gain a bit of traction, once you start gaining a bit of momentum, you can start to really follow it through and see yourself almost at 3 points, as we are seeing Celsius do now. But a DMAC early on.
Oh yeah, Sweet goes down. It's always Narrow here, it feels like, to make these big plays. Dark as well lines him up with a high noon. Narrow finding a 4K in that team fight, a double charge kill as well to boot. And that's what you'll like to see from your Reinhardt here. Narrow has been just incredible thus far.
30 seconds.
Yeah, this has been a bit of a slogfest for these 2 Reinhardts. I'd love to see it from their perspective sometimes, because that'd be absolutely chaotic with all the particle effects that are going off as well. High noon in, Brawl Window Lover isn't going to find anything, but shield is low.
Yeah, puts the shield low, but not quite broken, right? Narrow can still protect that team to some limited extent, as the Blizzards are traded out on both sides. Lots of freezes coming through. Slows down the tempo ever so slightly, but Narrow is still swinging in. They are completely fine, not frozen up. Puts down that shatter. 3 of them on their backsides. That bomb as well, right as the wall drops. And Hope Guardians hold on 3rd point off of the back of some incredible tank play.
What
Score.
an absolute cluster. That was just
Switching
yeah, chaotic towards the end there. I do have to say that the I think it was it Shimbo that was playing the Mei. The ultimate usage was a lot better from the fact that they managed to get the freeze off onto the D.Va before throwing it out, and that's a really good sign of someone who understands Mei's kit really well, and how you should be utilizing that ultimate, that Blizzard, which is just such a crucial ultimate in these specific team comps that we're seeing right now. So if we can see more of that, I think that Celsius are going to have a bit of a tough time dealing with it. But again, we're going to see the exact same compositions from both sides, as they are going to go back in and smash faces again against each other again.
Attackers incoming in
And
30
hopefully we see more of the like really into this next one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we had that 6-man shatter coming through from, it was either Narrow or Sweets on map 1 on Nepal, but once I saw that, I was like, okay, this game is going to be insane in terms of the time play here. And obviously, it has lived up to those expectations. What I do want to mention here is, though, Celsius, I feel like a lot of their teamfight wins have been, like, just barely scraping by off, like, just one good ultimate, and I feel like it's a bit too marginal, isn't it? It's a bit too risky.
No, definitely. It's also off the back of a complete desperation Blizzard from Kip, or a Shatter or a Bomb, or potentially just a good, well-placed lamp. It's very on a knife's edge.
What is this? No one notices Sweet. What? I'm so confused. So Sweet pins in past the statue, goes all the way into Hope Guardian's back line. They don't know he's there. They don't know the Sweet is there. Huh?
I don't know. Maybe they just thought that he'd gone further than he did. I'm not sure. But Kip picking up both the supports there. Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be back to the spawn room for Hope Guardians.
Yeah, this is so weird. It's so weird.
It is a very strange composition, and we do see Dark now changing over to this Widowmaker. Maybe considering changing again. I'm not sure. Just kind
they want to pee. Okay.
They want to pause.
Yeah, they want the pause coming in here. So some tech issues probably. That's probably why they're AFKing spawn. I'm honestly not sure on that Widowmaker pick though. I don't think that's particularly. I mean, okay, so on King's Row attack, sure, but like you peek out, you go for a shot, and if you don't find it in 3 seconds, you swap off. That is the rule. That is the unspoken rule, and if you break the unspoken rule, you're a toxic Widowmaker main from 2016.
Widow switch, please. Took over from Hanzo switch,
literally.
Please.
It's like it's Widowmaker players and Hanzo players that they play their hero, they get like no damage done, no picks, and then they just say like, oh well, I'm not gonna switch because I one trick Hanzo. Like if you one trick Hanzo and you're that bad, please just uninstall. Like. No, but don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like this Widow play here is bad. I'm just getting on this rant because we're here. Okay, I'm not saying specifically that Dark is bad at Widowmaker. They could be a god for all I know. I'm just saying I get those players in my games.
I love how this just turned into like from casted tournament, just instantly just completely blindsided by this absolute rant coming out from Toasty about his ladder games. Oh god. But I do feel you.
It's appalling. Like, bro, if you're not getting picks on Widowmaker, if you're not getting picks on Hanzo, just play Mei, play Reaper, play Cassidy, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And especially in a sort of mirror matchup, it was working quite well for them, to be honest. And a lot of the plays that they were seeing were pretty much around the Meis, really, and the Blizzards that was being thrown out. I was going to say, who do you think so far has been kind of like the most standout player in your mind for yourself so far? Just
Narrow.
Narrow. Okay.
I'm going with a normie pick, and I'm saying Narrow here. Obviously, a past season was it MVP or Roll Star? Either way, they are kitted out with some trophies, but. Yeah, Narrow's been quite good. I feel like Dark's been a player to really watch out for here. And I think secretly as well, I mentioned this on like early on in a poll and like how important it would be as to how they played, but Thoriumea, a lot of these engages where like Celsius are like coming back in with like 4 players against 6 or 4 players against 5, those types of teamfight wins are mostly Thoriumea with like a B or a good AWP timing and that sort of thing. I feel like subtly in the back, they're getting a lot of value on the Lucio.
Yeah, definitely. And the support ultimates, we haven't really had to talk about them too much, apart from like a misplaced window here and there, which in reality, let's face it, window you can throw out on cooldown because it's one of those ultimates that you build up so quickly anyway. So it's not so much of a big deal. But we are back into the game, and we are going to see whether or not this Widowmaker pick. Oh no, never mind. It's changed over to something else now, which is McCree, or Cassidy, sorry, that we should probably do a little bit more and stop Toasty from yelling at us all. But Blizzard is out.
Yeah, Blizzard out. Big disengage comes in there as Shinbo beats it in, not eaten up by Rocco, and they actually find a couple of kills off that. So, yeah, Shinbo literally cross-map Blizzard's it, and it didn't get eaten. I am... Is this what all plat games are like?
The producer just confirming in our internet. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we do see now the amount of pressure that they can get on top of Celsius with all these additional macro abilities as well. I'm gonna shatter from behind him. No.
That is juicy, that is meaty, call it every word under the sun. That is incredible from Naro. Just hides in the little pub and then gets the 3k shatter. Love to see that.
That's quite important as well, especially since the entirety of Celsius was able to regroup with the good spawn. Now, obviously, half of them having to come from this long spawn, and that's just time off the clock. And Overwatch, there's not much about the frags, there's not much about the kills like it is like your Valorants or CSGOs. It's very much about taking time off the clock any way possible. It's about ticking that time down, and they're doing that very well with only small uses of ultimates there. Alright, very low.
That is a really well placed bomb. Actually destroys the shield of Naro, and just 4 of them put on their backsides. Sweets comes around the corner with that shatter. And yeah, again, I mean, that's just tank play, honestly. It feels like the tank play in this game has been just incredible, because the timing on that Rocco Nico, obviously, like, sending that bomb right on the payload, where it would guarantee to hit that shield, at least, from Naro, at any angle, basically.
Yeah, very, very well played from both of them there. And again, this ult usage from both teams has been so good for the most part, without thinking about the poorly placed window here and there, or a Mei ultimate being used. But they are in the next fight, and
big Blizz. That is a huge Blizz. Oh my! Rocco Nico finds 2 kills off of it, and even so, yeah, Ice Block from Kip is really the only thing standing between Hope Guardians and a teamfight win there, as it literally body blocks their frozen teammate when their Blizz comes in from Shinbo. But yeah, Dark shut down mid-high noon. If this was Overwatch 2, I think they'd have sort of that damage reduction on whenever you're high nooning, but yeah, not quite yet, so just end up falling there. Celsius probably going to come back into this with a team fight win, if I have to guess. They have the beat, Norak doesn't, and they can sustain a longer team fight if they really want to. Rocco Nico almost gets caught out in the open there, but not quite. And Torime actually goes down, so that kill is extremely crucial because it removes the beat. If you hit a beat there, that saves you against all 2 of those ultimates. I can't count, but yeah, that kill to Torime, that's so crucial.
But you sure can count. That was definitely 2. But,
that was definitely 2. Yeah.
As we discussed, sort of again, like it all comes down to this macro usage. Like, so micro is less of a factor in these games at the moment. The bubbles, the DM we did see in the first map, but aside from that, it's all about the Blizzard. It's all about the shatters again, like we see there.
Yeah, I mean, the Reinhardts just pin each other into a wall and then hit that shatter, and Norak comes in with a 2k here, as that wall will end up blocking up that bomb from Rocco Nico. So, Celsius have used, 3 ultimates here and still don't get a team fight win, where Hope Guardians a couple of meters away from winning the series right here, and now no one to contest it, and there we go, there's Waltz it in, and Hope Guardians win 2-0. We do still have another map to play for seeding here, so, yeah. Celsius gonna be not very happy about the fact they have to play another one. No, they've already lost.
And of course, it is your current sort of MVP, I suppose, that has got the play of the game, and rightly so, had a great showing on this Reinhardt. And I think more I watch from his perspective, the more I'm on board with a narrow pick for an MVP. So yeah, great stuff from them. Tankline overall from Hope Guardians has been absolutely like crucial for a lot of these team fight wins. Whether it's Benzo eating all the damage from like the Pharah in that early engagement against Kip, or you know, anything else in terms of like ultimates as well. We saw pulse bombs eaten, blizzards eaten as well, but the shatters as well from Benzo from Naro, and the charges and the way that they've been coupling up with the DPS and the Mei Wars and stuff like that has just been very, very well knit throughout these 2 wins in terms of maps that they've got. So yeah, great stuff all around from the Hope Guardians.
Yeah, overall, just solid stuff. They come out with that win on map 1, obviously, after, you know, Celsius almost bring it back, and it looks like it'll be a close series, but via the scoreline, it isn't. Via, you know, if you've watched the cast, it is, right? Because it has been quite the nail biter of the series, I suppose. But Hope Guardians, I mean, they still have one more map to play. They could make this a 3-0 if they really want to make it dominant. And Celsius, they still have some time to, you know, recover their dignity. They still have some time to play this map 4 on Escort and play for, you know, that +1 map differential.
Yeah, and I think that having maybe that in the back of their minds, maybe that might give them a little bit of extra poise to be able to come in and win this one and make it a 2-1 instead. You know, hats off to Celsius. They have had some real glimmers of hope, whether it be Kip on that Pharah in the second map, or it would be I mean, Rocco has had a great showing as well with the D.Va. And obviously Sweets as well for the tanks as well. The tank line again, I talked about it at the start, where, you know, the tank line has, in my opinion, more of an impact in the game rather than DPS. And though we do see obviously some characters coming out from both teams, where you've got these big ultimates like Blizzard and a couple of big high noons as well, it's mainly been around this tank play again that we've seen the difference being made during the fights. So yeah, just awesome stuff from them as we go into Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, Watchpoint Gibraltar, my I guess one of my favorite Escort maps. Literally, it's forced to be my favorite Escort map actually, because every other one just sucks horribly, and this one just sucks less than the others. But you know, it's pretty good for dive. We can get some dynamic gameplay here, and we don't have to see sort of the Reinhardt's just running at each other and hoping for the best anymore. Because let's face it, if you're in Plat, that's all you're doing. You don't have any idea of the intricacies and like the theory behind it. Maybe you do. You know, it seems like Naro certainly does. But yeah, we'll be seeing some dive here probably.
Yeah, I think give him credit here. You know, teams, when you're playing in a bit more of a competitive sort of set, you're kind of changing your mindset ever so slightly to play a bit more with your team, though you don't have the complete knowledge of when to go in, when to aggress, and when to regress. I don't know if that's the right word, but you still have the ability to be able to understand those sort of types of things. But we are seeing a bit of a wacky comp coming out from Celsius. Modest TP is probably going to go back, and Widow Lover is going to change over to something else. Maybe even see a Widow. They're called Widow Lover. We are going to see a Widow. Hooray! Flashy plays all round. That's good. Nice anti though.
Yeah, the Widowmaker here, honestly, if it gets dove onto very aggressively by Hope Guardians, it's probably not going to get value. But right now, they aren't really... Okay, I was going to say they aren't doing much about it, but then they just get sniped by some mines by the Echo, and Dark going to start following up on that now, see if they can put some shots into this tired area, just to get some ult charge off this team fight. Sweet is actually quite far away from the rest of the team, as is Kip, and they're going to get pushed back.
That's a good push though. They do get it under the car wash, and with one person going down, the interesting thing about Gibraltar is this. I don't know what's happening right now. I just see a trade back and forth of heroes.
This is interesting. You've got a monkey chasing a Widowmaker who is being chased by a monkey. But eventually, Naro does end up going down there, so will be punished for that dive. Doesn't actually confirm that kill. Gives Celsius the opportunity to start moving in, because there's no clear engaged tactic here for Hope Guardians without your monkey on board.
Yeah, that's it, definitely. And they are able to take control of this blue box for the moment, and hopefully we should see them take control of it themselves, as Hope Guardians doing best than Nano.
Arrow, though, taking the time for the engage, doesn't have the jump online quite yet. Shinbo finds Widow Lover in the backline, though, so he's getting a lot of value out of this flanks, but so is Kip. Says, you know what, I can do it better. Finds Dark, finds Norak, who will get you're rezzed up here by Blondie, but I don't think that's really going to be too crucial with Bezo getting de-mech'd here. You get Dark in. You know, after being rezzed back up, they get that duplication online onto the Winston. Celsius gonna have to back up a little bit off the back of it. Shinbo goes for a Death Blossom, gets swept up immediately, and Widow Lover finds Bezo right as they are close to remacking. A bit of chaos in here as the Naro just primals everyone into the corner, and yeah, Dark does the cleanup.
I mean, it's not quite easy to see exactly what happened there, because well, there's a monkey with his ultimate, and yeah, I don't know really what happened. I'm completely useless there. Not a lot, but someone's eventually died. Naro's gone down, but they need to be able to capitalize on this. And it seems to be again the sort of the story of the series, really, that they just need to be able to get the rest of these kills. Target focus. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, Dark is definitely trying to focus down some targets right now, so Widowmaker in the back as Kip finds 3 kills with that Pulse Bomb. What a 3k there, as, yeah, a bit embarrassing for them, but they get the big play off of it, and Sweets comes in for the rest of the cleanup here as well. Bezo not able to get a remake kill. Sweets and Kip are basically just dominating the opposition right now.
Yeah, I mean, I talked earlier about DPS not having much of an impact at the moment, but when you're getting double pulse bombs like that, like Kip's doing, they're much more effective than I initially anticipated. So, and the Tracer, obviously, in Overwatch 2, it should be a very useful pick to have in your back pocket for the side of Celsius, as we do see them start battling over this ship and high ground. And they do know about high ground, and they do know that they need to take control of it. So. Both teams seem to be just jumping on each other's supports at the moment.
Yeah, Norak under a lot of flak there. Sweet's going to pop that Primal Rage, and Thoriumea did a great job of, I want to say peeling, but the players that Thoriumea killed on the Brig were not peel kills. He killed the Mercy and the Baby Diva. Pretty interesting, but Thoriumea, you know, bloodthirsty support. We saw it on Lucian, we're seeing it on the Brig, so let's see it.
Yeah, I think that Brig is going to have to come into play here, considering the fact that when your tanks are jumping on the opposing supports, having that Brig to be able to kind of fortify Lucas's position there is going to be so much better than having a Moira who's just going to be like, "See you later, Norak. You're on your own on this one."
Bit of a heat of an anti-nade there coming in from Lucas. Not sure where they were aiming that one, but now the Death Blossom is in here from Shinbo. Clearing everyone off the card, as you know, they have found that initial kill onto Widow Lover, as Widow Lover is no longer Living Widow, that's Dark. And Shinbo up to the high ground, uncontested, with that kill onto Sweet. So yeah, they stopped the momentum of Celsius and actually holding him hostage basically in point B.
So we have 3 points on the clock as well, but with 5 ultimates as well, they're not going to look bad for long, especially when Widow Lover has got the pick onto Shinbo, who is causing them problems.
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, the Soldier here obviously able to put out a lot of that consistent damage during the dives. Very hard to displace as well, has that runaway that they can use, but Kip that, not able to land that Pulse Bomb with the Nano Boost fading away now. Not really getting too much value out of that, I'll admit. Norak finds the anti-nade kill onto them, and now Celsius might have to try and disengage. You can see Rock and Nico drops that bomb off of the high ground and just remechs in front of everyone else. Bezo gonna get taken down the Baby Diva form though, and the Nano Boost is online here for Norak. Shinbo just gonna waltz forward and hold Mouse 1 like all Reaper players do. My favourite character is indeed the Reaper guy here as they find that kill onto Rock and Nico. And there we have it. Hope Guardians continue to remain in control.
Yeah, these little chinks that sort of come out in these tanks' armor at the moment, considering that Rocco didn't really need to invest the bomb there, dropping it off the high ground. win the team fight was probably already sealed and done, really. But Naro playing in a little bit of a ratty position, if you excuse the pun. Has the bombs as well available as well, but that's a nice early pick.
Yep, Dark though. Finding that kill onto Kip, Lucas goes down, so, I mean, there was a bit of pressure on Dark there in the backline here from Widow Lover, but they pop the Tactical Visor, they alert everyone to their position, and they just get mauled over.
Yeah, again, not very good use of the ultimates there, and that could be the game changer here at the moment, as we do see them still investing into this fight, and now he's just going to pick up another one. They need to come back, they need to regroup, get a bit of, you know, a reset going, and realize that you've lost the fight. They did have the momentum, but it's completely gone in the opposite way now. Hope Guardians feel firmly in control at this point. Why are you peeking that, Lucas? Why? It's a Widowmaker! Oh my goodness!
They are just trickling kills. They first of all, they peek out into a sight line they know the Widowmaker's playing on because they see the Widowmaker there. Secondly, they then peek the sights of a Widowmaker. Like, and now the traits has been sort of scouted out, so Kip's kind of locked down here.
30 seconds remaining.
They are trickling down into this last fight now territory as a result, and I mean with another pick like that, we need to get a return pick.
Yeah, I mean it's a 1-for-1, so it's sort of the flankers against the flankers here as the Reaper doesn't really count as a flanker when you're just holding mouse 1 like this with an unboost online. Kip into the back line with that pulse bomber, completely misses it, goes wide from Norak, who was the intended target. Thoriumea is going to pop this rally here to see if they can keep their team all healed up for this team fight, stop the ball from getting any clear engage with that pile drive. They find the backline kills here, so finally Celsius' DPS are coming online right when it counts. Dark not able to get any more value now as they are in the spawn room in the respawn queue. And yeah, I think this should be Celsius, you know, after a bit of stalling here, probably getting this through to the finish line.
Yeah, it did look a little bit difficult for them at the start there, losing one early on to a really nice pick from, I think it was Dark. And yeah, they're just having to deal with these few late stragglers at this point. But yeah, a very back and forth fight again, is just seeing them just completely contesting the point. And it's not over yet. They do have to finish off the rest of these kills.
Yeah, and hopefully not C9 as well. Obviously we had one of those on Nepal, but Celsius now gonna get the spin-up kills. They have ultimates as well, even if things do go a little bit, you know, south for them. So, well, it is taking a while, and you know they are giving us a little bit of a run for our money on how long we can stall during an overtime fight. You know, it's gonna go their way eventually, surely, right?
I do say that. You said it now, and I was going to say Shinbo has got the ultimate, but unfortunately gets shut down very quickly. Again, the DM is there, and Primal Rage as well. The Nano Boost is going to see up 2 of them. Benzo gets another Pulse Bonnie to add to his to their tally.
Yep, not too bad there, honestly, from Celsius. As again, they finish in overtime, so this is similar to Volskaya in a way, right? They do sort of well on the first and second points, they build up a good time bank, and then they wasted all on sort of the last point. And a lot of it was because they were trickling these kills right through to Dark on that Widowmaker. You can't be doing that. You need to have a bit more discipline. Play sort of, I know this seems very rudimentary and like, oh, this is very obvious, you're telling us to play as a team, but like, play as a team, just do it. Like, literally, don't peek out until your tank says, okay, let's start engaging, let's set up.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like such a simple thing to when you talk about it, but getting 6 people on the same page sometimes, especially when you got FPS players who are just like, I'll just take a quick peek and see if I can get a bit of damage in there, and this, that, and the other, and they just get their heads completely taken off by a Widowmaker.
Yeah, well, I mean, it hurts people's fragile egos when they're not constantly shooting heads, and then it hurts even more when they do get their heads shot off, like you say. So, you know, it's a trade-off. Do you satisfy your inner FPS urge and go for the peak, or do you just play patient and be like, oh, well, I'm not getting any value? Like, obviously you're not. It's a prep phase.
Yeah, definitely. But we are seeing again the Tracer, but into Widow Lover's hands this time, which is a bit interesting seeing the versatility of Celsius. Kip still playing this It's Echo instead, but Dark's got the better of him.
Yeah, starting kill there onto Kip is absolutely lovely here for Hope Guardians. They're going to clean up on the rest of Celsius as well. I think you really need Kip online and able to sort of dive in here with your monkey and put in the brunt of the damage, because there's a lot of self-heal you've got on the Ana here. You've got the Mercy as well who can just pocket the Ana, so you need a lot of burst damage to make these dives work, and obviously Dark being online and Kip not for most of that fight, and it again just gets killed off there. That fight just goes the way of Hope all the way.
Yeah, we are seeing two of Celsius, Rokanika and Lucas, just trapped at the moment, and Lucas is going to go down. At this point, like at that point, you just want to see them jump onto the point and die with the rest of the team. Again, it's one of those things that just don't realise that actually just jumping onto the point and taking 1 or 2 seconds off is better than doing what you did there and staggering out and causing them to get more momentum, more ultimates online. And there's one there. Widow Lover does actually come back in with a pulse bomb now.
Yeah, lovely pulse, but it gets res straight back up. Lucas, he goes down as well to Narrow here, so a lot of aggression, I must say, from Hope Guardians, as they are literally spawn camping Celsius. It will bite them in the backside, to put it nicely, as Narrow ends up going down there when a little bit too deep in. And this bomb's coming in over the top. That's at least going to find one. Yeah, Blondie falls. DMAC onto Bezo as well. Okay, I was going to say if you leave Bezo, that buys a little bit more time off the clock, like you were saying earlier, very important, but I mean, you could just kill him anyway, why not?
Yeah, I did think it was going to be a bit difficult for them without that Primal Rage, which had to be invested by Sweets after getting knocked off by Narrow towards the spawn, to be able to contest the point, and that looks very difficult for them, but a well-placed bomb by Rokaniko. Did a great job there, and she's come into this next fight with 30% ult charge as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, Kip here, Mercy duplication. To be fair, if they can sacrifice their life on the duplication here to sort of res Lucas up, it'd be pretty big, but they didn't decide to do that. They're just healing everyone up, and Sweet ends up going down to the bomb there from Dark, who also did duplicate, went over towards that D.Va. Got a fair bit of value as well. They are staying alive, they are putting in the work here. 2 kills for them so far, looking for the enemy Echo as well, looking to enact a bit of that DPS diff, but it does look as if Celsius should be in control of things, maybe?
Don't say that.
It's very hard to say.
Never say that. Not in this game, not in this is just chaos. The bomb does go through
okay.
There you go. That shuts it down. Surely.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way Sweet's like, solo Primal Rage is that. I guess it's 6k, anything can happen in this series at this point, but yeah, there will be sort of a point B cap here. I reckon you won't get a last minute touch. Or maybe you do, okay.
Yep, just proving you wrong again there. Widow Lover just determined to not let you get a word in edgeways.
Yeah, I mean, they get their players onto the part, but where's their ultimates to come back in and make a play, right? I mean, for both sides even. Blondie and Shinbo go down, so actually Celsius make good on this recontest. It was a good call, honestly, from Widow Lover, or whoever called that out, to go for that recontest. I do like that. I didn't initially. I thought the D.Va would have to try and touch and then it'd get demagged and it would just be a stagger kill, but yeah, solid.
Oh, they do get the stall out onto...
oh, don't do it to the Swedes. Oh, no.
As well. Oh, poor Benzo. Run back to your team, Benzo. Or to the edge, I don't know which way. Oh, God. Oh, no. You gotta hate to see it, or love to see it. A little bit of stagger onto the D.Va. Despite the fact that we've seen so much D.Va, we haven't seen much of that this game. But anyway, into this next fight, they do have the ultimate advantage for Celsius. They will use it, heading off with a duplicate onto Kip.
Okay, I was gonna say Celsius might be in a bit of a bad position, but Kip, turns it around, finds Blondie, finds Narrow. So even so, I think Dark probably has the backline presence to just keep pestering away and draw some attention. Celsius, there are a few players down right now as that Nanoboost comes through here onto the Brig. Raid Boss Brig, Rally, and Nanoboost online for Thorium Aya, and that will prevent anyone from killing the backline in any sense, as Hope Guardians throw in a couple of those explosives, bomb and pulse bomb right on top of each other. Neither of them find any value, as it's the remake instead from Bezo to really dealer damage. Thoriumea does end up going down, removes some of that peel potential as Blondie finds the bomb kill. Or sorry, no, Rock finds the bomb kill onto Blondie. But Naro is in here with the Primal Rage, finds a couple of kills. And that should be the point B cap here, finally, after, you know, it should have happened like 2 minutes ago when Celsius came in for that recontest, I feel, but it happens eventually, so can't complain.
You watching the kill feed, it's just so very much back and forth. It just shows that I think these teams at the moment could really benefit from having a little bit more target focus, because the fact that you look at their health bars as well, and like not one person seems to ever be lower. It's always like a few of them ever so slightly low. There's chip damage on every single one, and you see an ult coming from Shinbo.
We're just not gonna talk about it. We're just not gonna talk about it, Shinbo. It's fine. We'll let you off. Sweet in here though. Primal Rage back looking to pressure out Norak, but they end up going down in the process. That focusing beam just bursts them down from 500 to 0. As Hope Guardians, you know, it was a bit of an embarrassing start to the team fight for them, but they come back. They sort of counter dive the players that are going onto their backline. And Norak puts this Nano Boost onto Naro. Doesn't actually... yeah, it was a good whip shot, so it doesn't find any value there. As Sweets now, okay, into the back as a Nano Boost of their own right now. Thoriumea as well, coming up towards the rally. These support ultimates really allow Celsius to re-engage strongly. But Sweets goes down because Rally's just not online in time.
I mean, that was a good example of exactly how it should be. Someone's got a little bit out of position, your entire team collapses on top of them. As we do see the bomb being invested by Benzo. Just pick up the Thoriumea actually there, so they are continuing this push relatively well, but they had to sit back with a couple themselves to the side of Celsius.
This is so odd. It's going so back and forth at the minute. You get the result from Norak here, so I do think Hope Guardians will have a map completion. If I had to guess, you've also got Kip coming back here though on the Doomfist looking for some one-shot kills. They do get slapped up right as they're going for that punch onto Norak though. Sweet is back on the Wrecking Ball, putting pressure onto the backline. Norak gets the anti-nade onto them though, forcing them away for the time being as Pile Drive in, but Sweets again gets slapped up, so not really going to find any value with that ability. Kip has returned onto the Doomfist. Actually finds just a really weird punch onto Dark there. So that actually denies the value that the res gets from Blondie. Still a player down here for Hope Guardians and Celsius. With these spawns are really getting some value. That Matrix deals with most of that death loss coming through from Shinbo. As the Nano Boost is here onto Rocco Neko. I'm getting flashbacks to Volsky here. You getting deja vu as well?
So at this point, it's just, it looks like it's going one way, I think it's the complete opposite, but it looks like Celsius is going to get the better of it, despite all the great push that Hope Guardians put through. And target focus? Is that the problem? I don't know.
Who knows, but either way, I mean, just the series of overtime fights there does end on obviously a loss for Celsius despite winning that map. But yeah, they do manage to keep some of their pride, get a map on the board, and make sure they get at least one more map differential going into sort of the stage 2 seeding. So it's not too bad for them.
Not at all, and the game is going to go over towards Sweet, even despite the fact that they just lost the map. So yeah, great game overall, really, from Celsius to be able to bring that one back and at least put a score on the board. So we should see that sort of come up relatively shortly. It's 2-1, as will come up in a sec. But yeah, overall, just very, very massive fights. Again, we saw it throughout the entirety of the series of just how chaotic it is when you don't really have the kind of maybe not necessarily the same brain or the same sort of mind, sort of like pushing onto one individual like player, or taking out their supports, or having a clear game plan of like, okay, here's how we're going to gauge this fight. Use the ultimates. This the real saving grace, I think, for both teams here, which was ultimate usage. I think throughout, there's a couple of mishaps here and there on characters and ultimates that don't really make that much of a difference overall, especially since they're up sort of so frequently. It doesn't really matter if you misplace one here or there. But majority of the time, they were really invested sort of sparingly and just enough to be able to get themselves the fight wins. Occasionally, we did see some hero ones come out as well, whether it be a Blizzard, a Shatter, a bomb, or a Pulse bomb, or potentially sometimes not even like an ultimate. These crazy plays that came out from Kip, who was playing the Doomfist on the Volskaya and stuff like that. So it's just very, very chaotic and yeah. But overall, I think a very interesting and exciting match to watch. Just non-stop brawling. You gotta love that as a caster, really, or even a spectator. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it is. I do like how chaotic that series was. I have definitely missed the EU Harmony tier of Tranquility, but listen, this season of Tranquility, we do also have another EU tier. It's going to be EU Discord tier, so if you are interested in seeing more EU gameplay instead of the usual NA stuff, NA production, NA gameplay, you can see that at 9 PM CEST on Thursday. So same start time as today was. And in terms of the NA matches for this week, obviously we have 9 PM Eastern time later today. Gonna have the Harmony tier NA match, so again some more plat gameplay for you. And if you're also interested in sort of the high tier gameplay, you've got Transcendence and Discord, which are going to be at Wednesday, Thursday, 9 PM EST. So a lot of content coming to you this week. I'm really glad we got a lot of tiers going into this season.
Yeah, definitely. It should be very interesting to sort of watch from a sort of newbie perspective as well. Sorry about the people. I don't know if you can hear those people speeding outside of my house. It's just crazy.
You can hear them online.
But I was going to say, for this match, who's your MVP?
It's a hard one because like towards like the second half of the series, I thought like Thoriumea was like secretly like MVP tier. I think the only other like one on their team to contest that would have probably been Sweets. But I think obviously we have to give it to a Hope Guardians player since they did win. So like we'll give the honorary MVP to Thoriumea, and then for the actual MVP, I think it has to be Naro, right? Surely.
I think it has to be one of the tank line, that's for sure. I can't quite make my mind up because Naro had a great showing on that Reinhardt, especially on King's Row. Some brilliant shatters coming through and his Rhine games as well. But Benzo had a great diva overall, and on Volskaya, the only map they lost actually was a map that Benzo wasn't actually playing diva for. Played Xayah instead. So yeah, I think overall, I think I will go for Naro with a very, very close second going to Benzo. But that's not to take away from the rest of the Hope Guardians who, here and there, Dark, we sort of gave a mention earlier as well. Very, very good on those hit scans and got some great picks and great. I think it's Dark that got the pulse bombs as well, and Shimbo there to back them up as well. So. Yeah, overall, and I do like your shout as well. Sorry, just to say to Thoriumea as well. Always love to give it to a support who just don't really get enough love. Let's face it, supports don't get the love they deserve. Say thank you to supports. If you haven't seen it on Blizzard's Twitter, they have asked you to do it. So god damn it, do it. And that comes from a tank player. So if I can do it, you sure as hell can.
Yeah, indeed. You have to give that support love, and obviously, like from my point of view as well, like it probably sounds like I'm just giving love to supports just for the sake of it, but like genuinely, I think I mentioned this after King's Row, but like some of those re-engages from Celsius, even though they lost King's Row, were just incredible. Like Thoriumea, I'm not sure if they are shot calling. I would assume they are on the Lucio, given that they were the ones sort of heading the charge for a lot of those like B and Amp re-engages, but. Yeah, just incredible shot calling overall. So, big shout out to Thoriumea as well as Naro for getting MVP. And yeah, that'll be it for us today. So, thank you all for coming along watching. Big thank you to Hippie as well, doing the solo production for today. So, literally carrying the production. And yeah, we'll be seeing you later tonight for the NA feature.